Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. In today's video tutorial, I'm going to share with you my process for drafting a Lady of the Lake quilt, and this is based on an antique quilt. So see my entire process from start to finish. Okay, I'm going to start on my blog post, and I'm going to find the image of the antique quilt. And I'm going to right click on that and do a save image as. And I'm going to navigate to my EQ8, the images folder, and I'm going to label this antique eBay quilt and select save. Now I'm going to go to EQ8. And I'm going to click on the new project icon in the upper left corner. And I'm going to call this Lady of the Lake Antique Reproduction and select OK. And now I'm actually going to select Import and Edit Fabric Images. Even though we will be editing a photo rather than a fabric image, the software features allow us to do this in a very easy manner. So I'm going to select Import Image, and I'm going to navigate to my EQ8 images, and I'm going to find this particular antique quilt, and I'm going to select Open. The first thing I'm going to do is add it to the project sketchbook, and that's just going to allow me to bring it in again if I want to take another look. Now I'm going to crop one of the blocks. So I'm going to select the crop button, and I'm going to drag those handles around the block to approximate one of the blocks. It's actually going to be a little bit outside of the actual block, and then I'm going to select Apply Crop. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on View Actual Size, and I am seeing that maybe I could do a little bit of straightening on this. So I'm going to select Rotate, and then I'm going to select Straighten. And the little bit of the challenge is the top is a little bit different skewed than the bottom. So I'm going to actually, when I do the straighten, actually try to draw a line across the center. And notice that I'm intersecting with the very center of the block. I'm going to click on Apply Straighten. And that's going to probably clean it up as good as I can do it. So then I'm going to redo the crop, and I'm going to try to now match the edges of the block. And again, there's still a little bit of distortion because of the image, but that's actually not too bad. And so I'm going to select Apply Crop, and then I'm going to add that to the project sketchbook. Now I'm going to view my project sketchbook, go to the photo section, take that last cropped block, and select Edit to the block work table. Now my next step is, when I look at this, it is coming in at sort of 9.5 by 10. I'm going to select Distort Fit, which is going to help reskew that block to be closer to square. Now the reason that I am doing all of this is I want to experiment with what my setting should be to trace the block. And to do that, I need to figure out what the divisions are. So I'm going to go to the Draw tab, and I'm going to select a new block, Pieced Easy Draw Block. Now I'm going to start by turning my graph paper cells on, because what I am trying to figure out is what my graph paper cells need to be that will intersect with the lines of this block. You can see that 10 inches does not work, right? If you look at these points here, they don't match up. However, if I change this to 12, and you can certainly go and test, numerous options, but now take a look. If you look at that graph paper cell, that's matching, that's matching, that's matching. So there's an indication that this is probably the right snap settings. Now we can experiment with that and see if that works. So I'm going to go back to my tracing image, and I'm going to lighten this so you can actually see what I'm doing a little bit better. And then back to my drawing tools, and I'm going to change my snap settings to match my graph paper cells. And I'm going to actually change the width and height as well. Now the width and height don't really matter, but it does give me a visual reference in terms of the ruler. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to take my line tool. I'm going to make sure that I have snap to grid points as the only thing turned on, and I'm going to draw the major sections of the block. We've now confirmed that the 12 by 12 snap points work really well for the major outlines for this block, and so now we are ready to work on one of the segments. I can see that there is a diagonal line that looks like it matches up that going through the center of that particular segment. And then I can see, if I look closer, that I have basically a quarter square triangle in the corner here. And then it looks like I have some half square triangles. And let me hide show my image for tracing, but I think that is this that particular corner. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to use my pick tool, and I'm going to completely enclose everything for that particular corner. And I'm going to select Advanced Symmetry, and I'm going to do a clone rotate 90. And now I can let this snap to the lower right corner. Now you sometimes will want to zoom in and make sure it snaps. I can sometimes just sort of feel where there's just that little bit of movement, and so I know that it's snapping in place. But if you're uncertain, zoom in really close and make sure that that snap point or that node matches one of those graph paper intersections. So I'm going to do another clone, rotate 90, and then snap into position, and a third clone, rotate 90. So I now have the corners of my block done. Now I need to do the center, so I'm going to turn back on the hide show image, and I am going to trace that center section of the block. So I am now ready to color this block. Now if I want to create that reproduction look, I am probably going to bring in some reproduction fabrics. So I'm going to select Open Library, and I'm going to collapse colors but go to Themes, and under Themes they have reproductions in a number of different colorways. So let me select the cream, and I'm going to just do a select all fabrics, add to sketchbook. I'm going to do the pink, select all, add to sketchbook, and I will repeat this process for the other reproductions as well as the shirtings and neats. Now I'm going to, on the color work table, go ahead and color this particular block. And once I have the block done, I can go ahead and add that to the project sketchbook. Now I am ready to select the quilt work table. And I'm going to do a new block, and I'm going to select the layout horizontal. And in the layout tab, I'm going to change it to 4 horizontal and 5 vertical. Now, according to the information on this quilt, the blocks were actually 15 inches. Now, it doesn't matter that I designed them at 12 because EQ will adjust the block based on the space that I put it in. For the borders, I'm going to do a long horizontal and I'm going to select 4 inches. Now, I never got to the exact measurements, but I suspect that the quilt probably wasn't perfectly pieced and there may have been some shrinkage over the years due to washing. So now I'm going to go to the Design tab and I'm going to select Set Block, and I'm going to scroll and find that block I just did, and with the Control key I'm going to select one of the spaces. Now if you're on a Mac, that's going to be Command. Then I can use Symmetry and click on the space and it will give me different rotations of these blocks. This particular rotation, which is the second one, is actually exactly what was used in this quilt. Now I can go to the Fabric tab with my eyedropper tool, find that fabric I used there, and with the Control or Command key, complete the borders. And really, that is all there is to it. So I will add this to the project sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. For additional tips and techniques, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com. And while you are there, feel free to check out my other Electric Quilt online offerings.